it again. Big bang, turn around. I see him no more than 30 feet away from me.
Heroism and survival. Lewiston, Maine residents coming to grips with the loss of loved ones as the community continues to shelter in place while the manhunt for suspect Robert Card grows larger. We're learning more about the 18 people murdered and details about the mental state of the prime suspect. U.S. military might striking back. U.S. F-16 fighters hitting Iranian targets in Syria, retaliating for 19 attacks on American bases in the Middle East that injured dozens of U.S. service members. New details as hundreds more U.S. troops are headed to the region right now. Also, a Chinese fighter jet comes within feet of an American B-52, the dangerously close message from the Chinese. And Israel Defense Forces pound Gaza in its second ground raid in 2 days. An IDF soldier joins us live with what this could mean for a ground war with Hamas. Plus, some say it's a life-saving game changer. Others say it needs more research. A deep dive into a controversial cancer test that doesn't yet have doctors sold. It's Friday, and it's Morning in America.
From our NewsNation headquarters in America here in Chicago, it's Morning in America.
Yeah, thanks for waking up with us, everybody. We are following several breaking news stories as we kick off this final Friday of October. So let's dig right in. Overnight, the Pentagon confirming U.S. F-16 fighter jets launched airstrikes on 2 locations in eastern Syria linked to Iranian-backed militias. That retaliatory strike comes after 19 attacks that wounded at least 24 American troops in that region. Tom Dempsey is live on Capitol Hill with the latest there.
Plus, the manhunt intensifies for the man accused of murdering 18 people in Maine after a search of his home turns up empty.
An arrest warrant is out now for Robert Card. Right now, at this hour, he faces at least 8 counts of murder connected to Wednesday's shooting. Card is still considered to be armed and dangerous.
Now, during the search of Card's home, police found a note meant for his son. What's in it and what's made clear so far?
Yeah, can't look. We're eager to see what that entailed. Also, police believe Card might have escaped by boat after shooting up a bar and bowling alley in Lewiston. His car was found at a nearby dock, and he has at least 1 boat registered to his name. Shelter-in-place orders are still in effect for 40,000 residents. Schools in that area have also been canceled for a second day. We'll hear more from the community, gripped with fear, coping with the loss of loved ones. But first, Dre Clark is following the overnight developments in that manhunt. Dre, good morning.
Good morning. Signs like the one you see here behind me are up all around town, reminding people about that shelter-in-place order. Meanwhile, some 350 local, state, and federal police officers and agents are conducting that search for Robert Card. That includes 80 FBI agents as well as members of the U.S. Coast Guard, providing coverage from the air and also looking over waterways. For the second night in a row, that search went on for Robert Card, but last night, agents and officers did not find anything. However, for more than 2 hours, they did surround a home where they believe Card might be hiding out.
Come outside, walk to the front of the truck with your hands up and nothing in your hand, and walk to the front of the truck in the driveway, follow my instructions.
And that was police speaking over a loudspeaker last night. After 2 hours, officers left this house here on Meadow Road in Bowdoin without making any arrests. Officers had been to the same house earlier in the day, but left and returned last night. Maine State Police say they were executing search warrants and doing their due diligence by tracking down every lead in an effort to find Card, who was considered armed and extremely dangerous. Throughout the day, police searched several homes and followed up on every tip, hoping, again, it would lead to Card. Now, Card is now charged with 8 counts of murder, and more murder charges are pending. Police say Wednesday evening he walked first into a bowling alley in Lewiston, Maine, and started shooting with a rifle, killing 7 people. And less than 15 minutes later, and 4 miles across town, he shot up a billiards bar, killing 11 people. 18 people killed, 13 injured, and as of last night, at least 3 victims remain in critical condition. Now, after the shooting, police found Card's white SUV at a marina in Lisbon, Maine, which is about 8 miles from where the shootings occurred, but there is no sign on where he may have gone from here. And for a second day, residents in Lewiston and 2 neighboring towns were told to shelter in place and keep their doors and windows locked as the manhunt moves on.
I continue to strongly urge Maine people to follow the direction of state and local law enforcement amid this ever-changing situation. Please, if you see anything suspicious, please call 911. There are still many things we don't yet know about these attacks.
And schools in the area are closed for a second day. Meanwhile, police telling us they are following up on every tip that comes in. But so far, there have been no confirmed sightings of Robert Card. Nick?
Dre, thank you so much. More than 24 hours after the shootings, we're learning more about the victims and the heroes who saved their fellow community members from the gunman. This comes as church leaders across New England held a prayer vigil on Thursday night for everyone touched by this violence. Our Evan Lambert joins us live from outside the hospital in Lewiston with more. Evan, good morning.
Good morning, Nick. This morning, officials have not named any of the 18 people who died in these multiple shooting attacks, but we are starting to learn something about those who were lost and those who were injured from their family members and friends posting online, sharing pictures and sharing those harrowing stories from when police say Robert Card went into 2 separate locations and unloaded. First, we have a family member and the local newspaper here identifying one of those 18 victims, Trisha Aslan, who worked at the bowling alley. A friend writing in a statement, "She always made my shift worth looking forward to. Constant laughs. She had the biggest heart, from giving her leftover snacks ride homes, letting me rant about work. She would even surprise me with samples of Bath & Body Works because she knew I loved them. She treated me like a daughter, and I'll never forget the love she had and shared with me. Rest in peace, Trisha." Also, New England Bowling is confirming that Thomas Ghiberti is among the injured. Another worker at the just-in-time bowling alley, a manager, writing Ghiberti, quote, risked his life leading countless kids to safety while under fire from the gunman during last night's mass shooting, asking that people keep him in his prayers and saying that he had been shot multiple times and is in the hospital. Also, our Chris CUOMO spoke last night to someone who was inside that bowling alley when the shooting broke out. Listen.
Because to our league, we thought someone dropped the ball, or a balloon went off or something, a firecracker. So some people were more aware at first than others. But once I saw what was going on, I'm like, I can't believe I'm really seeing this. Everybody out, shooter, blah, blah, blah.
How'd you get them out? How many did you get?
Well, luckily, our league was near the back exit, like literally on lane 1. And if you turned around, there's the back exit right there.
And we know that several bowling leagues were going on in that bowling alley at the time of the shooting on Wednesday night. We also know that there was an event involving members of the deaf community at the second location, the bar, Shemengi's, and it's reported that many in the deaf community are among those 18 dead. We're expecting to learn additional updates later today. Back to you.
Yeah, and when you share these stories, Evan, it really paints the picture of who these people were and who that town is collectively as a whole. I'm sure all of them were trying to save others before they helped and saved themselves. Evan Lambert, thanks so much there on the ground. Let's bring in NewsNation national security contributor Tracy Walder. She was also a CIA officer and FBI agent. Tracy, good morning to you. We know there are hundreds of law enforcement officers combing this area, and specifically 80 FBI agents are looking for the suspect who's now been on the run for about 36 hours. Given what we know so far, what all might be complicating the search for law enforcement right now?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Markie. I think what's complicating them is actually the fact that there's really 4 options here in terms of where he could have gone. Either he killed himself, he escaped by boat, he fled on foot, or he fled to another waiting vehicle or a vehicle that he had stashed somewhere. So that makes it very difficult because now you sort of have 4 flanks upon which you are pursuing this subject. So that in and of itself, quite frankly, is the most complicating factor in this investigation.
Yeah, we know they found his car next to a boat dock. He has a boat registered in his name. You know, if he did get away on boat or an accomplice on boat, you know, who knows where he could be at this time. Tracy, when this story first broke and really his military background and training was revealed, we knew that would add a layer of complexity to the case. Robert Card is U.S. Army Reserves, trained as a firearms instructor. What's the likelihood of officials finding him, given the fact that he's a highly skilled marksman with a special set of skills that most other suspects would not have?
So here's one thing I do want to kind of walk back on that. He has not seen combat deployment at all, and he has not been combat trained. So I do think that that is a layer upon which we have to look at this. Yes, he is a very highly skilled marksman. There's no doubt about that. And so they're going to have to approach him, obviously, with extreme caution. But in terms of survival skills, he certainly may have them, but this is not someone that was necessarily trained in survival skills. However, I think the one thing that he has going for him is he does have a bit of a head start. Also, I do think, and I've said this before, I think this was something that he has planned. And so he has that element. And I think that's going to make it in his favor in terms of being able to get away a lot quicker than, you know, sort of what we've seen in the past. I do think he's really planned this out.
Yeah. So Tracy, given what you know about him, he's not trained in combat, maybe not a survivalist. What specific tactics do you think he's using right now if he's still alive?
In terms of specific tactics, I think one of the things he's probably using are burner phones, if he's even communicating at all. I wonder if he is at all, simply because this is someone, it's been reported that he was suffering from sort of paranoid delusion. So I am curious as to whether or not he's maybe gone digitally underground, and that makes it extremely difficult if he has gone dark. So I think that's probably something that he is really using to his advantage.
Obviously, we all know Card is considered to be armed and dangerous. He was upgraded yesterday from a person of interest to a suspect. Shelter-in-place orders remain in effect. They've continued to expand to neighboring communities. How concerned are you that he could hurt even more people, especially given that time keeps on ticking here and he likely grows more desperate by the hour?
Margie, I am very concerned, actually, that he might continue to hurt more people. This is someone who has made threats against a military installation in the past. I'd be interested to know, when they served the search warrant in his house, if they found other targets of interest. It seems to me that the targets he's looking at are personal ones to him: the bowling alley, the bar. He most likely had a connection to those places, as well as probably to the military institution. So I'd be very, very concerned about the surrounding area. You also have 2 universities, Bowdoin College and Bates College, that are really close by as well. So I'm very concerned, actually, about this immediate area, specifically because he seems to be targeting things that mean something to him.
Yeah, we know schools at least 50 miles away have been closed down for this Friday, too, headed into the weekend. Tracy Walder, thank you so much, as always, for your time and your expertise this morning. Hopefully next time we chat, he's been caught.
Thank you.
Okay, let's pivot this morning, everybody. We'll get back to that in just a minute. But wanted to talk about this. This morning, one of the Israeli negotiators working to free more than 200 hostages from Hamas told the BBC that they're working towards a ceasefire, one that would allow, quote, the women, the children, the aged, the wounded, and the sick, end quote there, to be released as soon as possible. That latest bit of hope coming as Israel continues to prepare for a full ground offensive in Gaza, despite warnings from other hostile Middle East nations. Our Robert Sherman is live on the ground in Tel Aviv this morning with the very latest. Robert.
Good morning to you, Markie. And concerns are growing that this whole conflict could expand outside of Israel and Hamas after Iran said this at the United Nations. Take a listen.
Today in New York and the United Nations, I say frankly to the American statesmen who are now managing the genocide in Palestine that we do not welcome to expansion of the war in the region. But I warn If the genocide in Gaza continues, they will not be spared from this fire.
They will not be spared from this fire. This is coming from Iran. And earlier in the week, we've seen Hamas taking a variety of meetings, including with leadership of Hezbollah and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. How about this? The Russian Foreign Ministry confirming that a delegation from Hamas was in Moscow this week. The Kremlin says that they believe that it is in their best interest in order to maintain direct lines of communication between all parties, but Hamas having meetings in Moscow this week. This all comes as a humanitarian situation, focusing first on the IDF on the ground in Gaza, putting tanks and boots on the ground there, carrying out several tactical raids within the Gaza Strip there. This is something that we've seen them doing over the last couple of days. No casualties reported as they prepare for a larger ground offensive. That was largely meant to knock out infrastructure of Hamas. And lastly, looking at the humanitarian situation, we've seen it decay in the last couple of days. Both water and fuel are difficult to come by. The UN says 74 humanitarian aid trucks have made their way into the Gaza Strip so far. 8 more are slated to come in today, but the UN says they need a steady flow of humanitarian aid in order to sustain themselves. Nick and Markie?
Robert, thank you so much. For more, we're joined now by Nichole Berlie, a businessman and IDF reservist paratrooper who flew home to Israel after watching the Hamas attacks unfold from his New York City apartment. Nichole, when we spoke to you on Monday, you were waiting for orders. I know now that you're about to deploy with your unit. How has the mood changed since then?
The mood hasn't changed, and what you guys are hearing, everything's changing all the time, so I wouldn't count on everything that's being said. But the morale is here. We're ready. You spoke about the humanitarian aid that is going into Gaza, and it's not enough. This aid is not going to the Palestinian people. You see Hamas taking every single part of the aid. So that's not even something to speak about, and we need to go in. We need to go in and we need to finish Hamas. That's what we have to do.
Nichole, I know that you say you need to go in. You know that this would be a dangerous operation. Are you and your team anxious or frustrated by this delay and this imminent ground invasion?
Look, everyone has a different opinion. Some are angry. Some are happy. I mean, you look at the previous wars and you understand that the longer you wait to go into a conflict zone, the higher chance you have of, more people coming out alive. So there's different thoughts. My personal opinion is that we just have to go in already. I'm personally frustrated. I think that we're waiting too long, but though I don't make the decision.
And Nichole, I know that as a foot soldier, you follow orders and commands from your leadership, and I understand that. But Hamas claims around 50 hostages died in the Israeli bombardment of Gaza. However, the group has a history of executing captives and blaming it on airstrikes. The IDF says there are still 224 hostages in Gaza. Is time running out to bring them home safely?
If you ask me what I'm scared about, that's what I'm scared about. I don't know where these hostages are. They are probably in the hundreds of miles of underground tunnels in Gaza. They're probably deep in Gaza. Maybe they're not even in Gaza anymore. As you know, Hamas works with other countries, especially Iran, that we have parents who are hoping that their children are dead and not kidnapped because they understand how bad the torture is. That's what I'm scared about. And I feel bad every second that we're not in there. I feel bad for those children, for those kids, for those parents, the grandparents who are being kidnapped, who are being tortured, and we have no clue where they are.
Nichole, I know that you have to run, and we're slightly losing your signal. I have one more question for you before you go. The U.S. has sent about 900 more troops to the Middle East amid a surge in attacks on U.S. personnel in the region. French President Emmanuel Macron is trying to build an international coalition to fight Hamas. How would Israeli soldiers feel about fighting alongside foreign troops if that comes to be?
I mean, that's a dream to have other soldiers come and join us. But to be honest with you, it's not going to happen. The U.S. isn't. I don't feel like the U.S. is going to send soldiers directly to fight terrorists who are worse than ISIS. You saw the beheadings. You saw the burned bodies. It's going into the worst thing in the world. So if America wants to send them, we'll be happy to. But in the end, we know that we, the Israeli nation, the Israeli people, are the only ones who are fighting this war. And just like previous wars, we have to fight and we have to win by ourselves.
No, I know that we do not take your time for granted. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Stay safe, you and your fellow comrades.
Take care.
Thank you. Markie, it's such a tough situation.
Tough situation, and to hear him say it'd be a dream to have other soldiers fighting alongside us, because we need all the help that we can get. He's one of the soldiers really sharing day-to-day updates of what it's like to be an IDF soldier on the ground, you know, moments of darkness, moments of hope as well, and we certainly thank him for his time.
And then he even was clear enough to say that I'm just one person. I'm telling you here, there are others who have others' opinions about how we should do this as well, but they're all ready to move and help save other Israelis.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of them. Okay, still ahead this morning, everybody. 10 feet apart. That is what the Pentagon is reporting about a Chinese fighter jet buzzing a U.S. B-52. The dangerously close move and what message China is now sending to America.
And the judge in the Idaho College murder case saying that the accused killer's defense is creative. What Brian Kohberger's lawyers had to say in his latest day in court when News for All America continues.
President Biden has a primary challenge. Congressman Phillips. Elizabeth Vargas reports tonight.
JP Morgan Wealth Management knows it's easy to get lost in investment research. Get help with JP Morgan Personal Advisors.
Hey, David, ready to get started?
Work with advisors who create a plan with you and help you find the right investments.
So great getting to know you. Let's take a look at your new investment plan.
Okay, great.
This should have you moving in the right direction.
Thanks, Jen.
Get ongoing advice and manage your investments in the Chase mobile app.
If you want to lower stroke risk from AFib, not caused by a heart valve problem, there's a better treatment than warfarin. Eliquis. Eliquis reduces stroke risk and has less major bleeding.
Don't stop taking Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. Get help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
The #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner. Ask your doctor about Eliquis.
Had enough? No, arthritis. Here, Aspirin arthritis. Huh. Full prescription strength. Reduces inflammation. Thank the gods.
Don't thank them too soon.
Kick pain in the Aspirin.
It's another ultimate endless shrimp.
Flavor drop.
With new tequila lime shrimp. One of 7 endless choices. Right now. Only at Red Lobster. Welcome to fun dining.
I left my soul on the Pacific coast.
At Consumer Cellular, we offer amazing 5G coverage, backed up by incredible customer service. But that wouldn't mean much without super low prices. You already know we're up half as much as the largest carriers. But guess what? AARP members can save even more. Yahoo!
Switch to Consumer Cellular now and get unlimited talk and text with a flexible data plan starting at only $20 a month.
In news, trust is everything. At NewsNation, we're earning it every day. Through honest reporting, checking the facts, and representing all sides. NewsNation is getting noticed for reporting that's down the middle, for news that's fact-based and reliable, and a trust rating that's higher than CNN, Fox, or MSNBC. Judge NewsNation for yourself. Go to joinnn.com now to find NewsNation where you live. NewsNation is news for all America.
We're back to you now on your Friday morning. The United States carried out a pair of retaliatory airstrikes early this morning against what officials say are Iran-backed military storage facilities in Syria.
And the Pentagon, though, is making sure to clarify that these strikes are not connected to the war in Israel. Our Tom Dempsey is live in Washington this morning with the details on this airstrike. Tom, it's clear the U.S. is sending a message.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. Good morning. This morning, United States military leaders are saying that they remain fully prepared to take any further measures if necessary after conducting what they described as self-defense airstrikes in Syria against facilities used by Iranian forces and forces aligned with Iran. But guys, this all comes after recent attacks on U.S. forces in that region that's led to almost 24 United States service members being injured. We want to show you a map of where these airstrikes took place in eastern Syria. We know 2 F-16 fighter jets were used in this, and they targeted a weapons storage facility as well as an ammunition storage building. According to defense leaders, Iranian forces and groups aligned with Iran use these 2 facilities. It remains unknown if any deaths or injuries occurred in the strikes. The United States saying the strikes serve as direct retaliation for almost 24 attacks on U.S. forces since the Hamas invasion in Israel. Overnight, defense leaders revealed that enemies targeted U.S. troops at least 19 times in the Middle East since last week, including 3 times on Thursday alone. The attacks led to 21 troops being injured and involved one-way attack drones and rockets. On Thursday, NewsNation asked the Pentagon directly about these attacks, but a spokesman remained tight-lipped about any retaliation.
Look, again, these attacks are concerning. They're certainly dangerous. We are going to take any necessary measures to protect our troops. But again, as far as any actions we might take, I'm not going to telegraph that. We would do something at a time and place of our choosing, should we choose to do so.
And the United States military leaders made it very clear that they do not want a wider conflict. And these airstrikes were done in retaliation to those attacks we told you about earlier. But, you know, make no mistake, these airstrikes come as lots of concerns continue to mount about Iran possibly trying to widen the war that we're seeing unfold at this minute in Gaza between Israel and Hamas. Guys?
Yeah, the United States' first offensive military response authorized by President Biden and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Tom Dempsey, thanks so much from D.C. this morning. And coming up this morning, Pentagon Press Secretary Brigadier General Patrick Ryder joins us live. He will be discussing those F-16 strikes in Syria and the attacks on American personnel in the Middle East. We also want to ask him about this.
A close call for the crew aboard an American B-52 over the South China Sea. The DoD saying the plane was on a routine operations flight in international airspace when it was buzzed by a Chinese fighter jet. American officials say the Chinese plane flew with, quote, uncontrolled excessive speed, flying below, in front of, and within 10 feet of the B-52. The incursion comes just 1 week after the Defense Department released a number of declassified videos and photos showing what it calls a pattern of coercive and risky behavior against U.S. aircraft.
And you know what you're doing. They're watching radar. They're sending
Absolutely.
a message. And it's not just the collision. You and I have talked about this. It's not just the collision to worry about. It's the wake turbulence that can also be deadly for pilots, too. Still ahead, everybody. Hurricane Otis packed a deadly punch. This morning, the cleanup is continuing in Acapulco after this week's deadly hurricane. But help is slow to arrive.
And could the next person on the stand in President Trump's civil fraud trial be his daughter, Ivanka? The answer straight ahead.
Mornings. Cough? Congestion?
I'm feeling better. All in one and done with new Mucinex Kickstart.
Headache?
Better now.
New Mucinex Kickstart gives all-in-one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. It's comeback season.
Meet the traveling trio. The thrill seeker, the soul searcher, and ahoy, it's the explorer. Each helping to protect their money with Chase. Whoa, a lost card isn't keeping this thrill seeker down. Lost her card? Not the vibe. The soul searcher is finding his identity and helping to protect it. Oh yeah, the explorer. She's looking to dive deeper, all while Chase looks out for her. Because these friends have Chase. Alerts that help check, tools that help protect, one bank that puts you in control. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Don't mind me. I'm just the flu. I'm quite harmless, really. And when people ask, but aren't you linked to dangerous flu complications like pneumonia, heart attack, and hospitalizations? I just say, but I'm just the flu. It's him. Who? I'm just the flu.
Fight the flu with higher dose flu vaccines from Sanofi. They're proven to provide better flu protection than standard dose flu shots in older adults. They've even been shown to better protect against flu-related complications.
Don't get Fluzone high-dose quadrivalent if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its components, including egg products, or after previous dose of flu vaccine. Don't get Flublok quadrivalent if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its components. Tell your healthcare professional if you've had severe muscle weakness after a flu shot. People with weakened immune systems may have a lower vaccine response. response.
Demand more from your flu shot. To get a Sanofi vaccine, make sure to ask for it by name. Schedule your Sanofi flu shot, available at these preferred national pharmacies.
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein. 30 grams protein, 1 gram sugar, 25 vitamins and minerals, and nutrients for immune health.
Do you listen to the TV on high volume or have trouble hearing conversations? Then you would benefit from hearing aids. Don't waste thousands on expensive hearing aids when you can get MD Hearing's revolutionary Neo hearing aids for just $299 a pair. Don't be fooled by higher-priced hearing aids. The Neo is a true hearing aid, not an amplifier. With rechargeable technology, many customers say is superior to more expensive models. Call now and get not 1 but 2 Neo hearing aids for just $299. Plus, we'll add in a portable charging dock and ship your order absolutely free. The Neo is nearly invisible with its tiny in-the-ear canal design. And you can get 2 Neo hearing aids with a 45-day risk-free trial, free shipping, and free lifetime US-based support for only $299. So call now.
800-437-7500. Again, that's 800-437-7500.
Good morning, everybody. Straight ahead this half hour, we have new details out of Lewiston, Maine as the manhunt for the killer continues. We'll talk to a longtime radio host about how the community is doing as all of these residents continue to hunker down while sheltering in place. Plus, 2 of those boulders are being hailed as heroes, how they saved dozens of lives on Wednesday night. And we'll also tell you about a new blood test detecting different kinds of cancers. But we will tell you first, a lot of doctors not on board with this. They're not yet
Even though
sold.
early detection is key, they're not crazy about this particular test.
Yes, we're going to dive into that one. And now let's take a look at some of the other headlines you'll be talking about today as we head into the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, Markie. We know that people will be discussing a judge denying Brian Kohlberger's motion to throw out the case against him. He's accused of killing 4 college students last November near the University of Idaho and Moscow. His defense team claiming on Thursday that the grand jury's burden of proof being probable cause instead of being beyond a reasonable doubt was not standard. Meanwhile, the prosecutor has said he intends to seek the death penalty in Kohlberger's case. Representative Dean Phillips of Minnesota launched a bid challenging President Joe Biden, saying he has done a spectacular job, but it's not about the past. This is an election about the future. Some of his colleagues think his decision makes the party look divisive. Biden's re-election campaign and the Democratic National Committee declined to comment. But the White House did note Phillips's voting record, saying, "We appreciate the congressman's almost 100% support of the president." And now that former President Donald Trump has taken the stand, today's session is set to start with a hearing to decide if his daughter Ivanka will have to testify as well. New York State lawyers argue that the former Trump Organization executive vice president has relevant information in Mr. Trump's New York civil business fraud trial. But Ms. Trump has been dismissed from the case. Lawyers for her family and his business contend that she should not have to take the stand. And survivors of Category 5 Hurricane Otis, killing at least 27 in the resort city of Acapulco, Mexico, are now searching for loved ones and desperately needing help. The Mexican government deploying 10,000 troops to deal with the aftermath, but fallen trees and mudslides have blocked access to the city of 800,000. The storm is the strongest on record to make landfall in the eastern Pacific, rapidly intensifying early Wednesday, defying forecast models with winds of 165 miles per hour and gusts of up to 200 miles per hour.
Gosh.
And this is really tough because that entire area really depends on tourism.
Absolutely. The destruction is widespread, and it's hard post-tornado, post-hurricane, power's out. You know, people can't get medicine. Where do you get food?
And getting crews into that area.
And trying to help and save others who desperately need it too. So we're thinking of them this morning. People living in Lewiston, Maine, and several surrounding towns remain locked in their homes this morning as authorities scour the area looking for Robert Card. The 40-year-old is accused of murdering 18 people and injuring 13 others in a shooting spree at a bowling alley in a nearby restaurant. Meanwhile, the people living in the area say they are in shock. So let's bring in Ken Altschuler, a former radio host at WGNA in Portland, Maine. He lives about 15 minutes away from Lewiston. Ken, thank you for joining us. I know this is an unnerving time for the communities in your area. Are you also living in one of the counties that is sheltering in place?
Yes, it's a section from actually east to west. So the way it goes, we have Lewiston, then we have Bowdoin, we have Brunswick, we have Freeport, we have Lisbon. So it's a 5-city area. But both basically Androscoggin County, Cumberland County are the areas where they're really shutting down. It's virtually a ghost town here. And let me give you a great example. I live in Freeport, and Freeport's known about LL Bean, the big mail order company.
Sure.
It never closes. It has no locks on its doors. It closed one time for the funeral of the founder. It closed yesterday. That is just unheard of. Banks are closed, shopping centers are closed, schools are closed. Everybody is shut down. It's like a ghost town around here. People are in such fear because we have a sharpshooter out there. We have an Army reservist who is well-versed in weaponry. He lives on a piece of land in Bowdoin that has hundreds of acres behind it. It's going to be in the 70s today, so he's not going to be too cold to be outside. Everybody's very on edge about that.
Yeah, everything I'm hearing about this area of the state makes it seem very quaint, neighborly. I can't imagine the mood and what you're used to versus what it is now. It's terribly sad and tragic. The shooting sprees obviously happened in Lewiston. Paint that picture for us if you could, because it's a relatively small town, about, I think, 38,000 people, yet it's the second biggest city in Maine. You describe it as an area where everybody knows everybody. What are the people who know the suspect, or at least are seeing these photos circulating and recognizing him? What are they saying about this guy?
Well, you know, it's interesting because this is the kind of town where everybody knows everybody. Yeah. I mean, it really is maybe cliche-ish, but this is a small town America. It is not rural. It is fairly urban. The people, everybody knows somebody who perished in that attack. People don't know a lot about Mr. Card other than the fact that these may have been places that he either went to or evidently a girlfriend he recently broke up with goes to. So there is some connection between this person and these places. He seemed to be a loner, other than the fact that, of course, they reported that he had 2 weeks in a mental institution this summer. He was hearing voices. There was a facility in Saco, Maine, which is south of Portland, that he threatened to shoot up that this summer. So now we have the whole discussion about how did we miss this?
Yes.
How did he obtain his weaponry knowing that he had some severe mental illness?
Yeah, I know there were some major red flags about this guy. A lot of people criticizing the fact that he was even out and about with firearms in the first place. That shelter-in-place order obviously still in effect and has continued to expand. Schools, federal buildings, even the grocery stores all closed this morning. Talk about day-to-day life right now. Are people having trouble getting things like food, water, medical supplies? How are people coping?
So, yeah, because the largest grocery store chain is Hannaford's. It is closed. Shaw's is a second one. It's closed. We anticipated this maybe for a day, but the continuing closure is really causing some stress on people. I went into Portland yesterday because I had to have an appointment there, and literally you never find a parking place. This is tourist season, fall foliage. We usually swell from 10 to 20,000 people. No one is there. It is empty. And so people are now panicking about food, water, but more than that, it's the safety. And what I want to stress to people is last year we had a total of 29 murders in the state of Maine, entire state, 29 murders. We have 18 in one day. We're considered one of the safest states. The FBI last year ranked us as the state with the least violent crime in the country. So it's not just a shock to our system that this happened. It's a shock to our system that they don't know where he is, that everything's closed down. People are petrified.
Yeah.
They're legitimately, honestly petrified.
And the fact that he is still among you somewhere is petrifying. I just texted. I have a good friend who lives in Portland, Maine. I texted him this morning to see how he was doing, how he was holding up. And unfortunately, I know events like this unfortunately change communities for forever. Kent Altshuler, thank you so much for your time and really setting the scene for us this morning of the search area and the communities that we're talking about here. Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Man.
And you know, it's tough all the way around because I have friends in Ogunquit. Everyone is feeling it. You know, and Ogunquit is like an hour away, but no one is in the state of Maine and not feeling affected by everything.
Yeah, and you don't want to take chances.
Absolutely.
Families with kids, you know, they're staying home.
And we don't know where he is,
yeah.
And that's the other problem.
We're on top of it.
Well, it's new, it's expensive, but it could be a game changer in the fight against cancer. Details on a blood test that one patient says saved her life. But is it too good to be true? Hear her story.
Here's why you should switch from Google to DuckDuckGo on all your devices. DuckDuckGo comes with a built-in search engine like Google, but it's private and doesn't spy on your searches. And DuckDuckGo lets you browse like Chrome, but it blocks cookies and creepy ads that follow you around from Google and other companies. And there's no catch. It's free. We make money from ads, but they don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on all your devices today.
I won't let my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis symptoms define me.
Emerge as you. With Tremfya, most people saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months, and the majority stayed clearer at 5 years.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, or if you had a vaccine or plan to.
Emerge as you. Emerge Tremfyant. Ask your doctor about Tremfya.
Struggling with the highs and lows of bipolar 1? Ask about Vraylar. Because you are greater than your bipolar 1. And you can help take control of your symptoms with Vraylar. Some medicines only treat the lows or highs. Vraylar treats depressive, acute manic, and mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults. Proven full-spectrum relief for all bipolar 1 symptoms. And in Vraylar clinical studies, most saw no substantial impact on weight. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, weight gain, and high cholesterol may occur. Movement dysfunction and restlessness are common side effects. Sleepiness and stomach issues are also common. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. Ask about Vraylar and learn how AbbVie could help you save.
It goes down in the field. With FanDuel, every night is a watch party. New customers bet $5 to get $150 bonus if your team wins. Bet all the stars with all your friends and tell them that they get 3 months of NBA League Pass on us with any $5 bet. Only on FanDuel. New customers bet $5, get $150 bonus if your team wins, plus NBA League Pass on us.
Kayaking is my thing.
Running is awesome, but her moderate to severe eczema would make her skin so uncomfortable.
Now, I'm staying ahead of it.
Dupixent helps heal your skin from within, so they can have clearer skin and less itch. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems, such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your doctor about Dupixent.
Ameritrade is now part of Schwab, bringing you an elevated experience tailor-made for trader minds. Go deeper with Thinkorswim, our award-winning trading platforms. Unlock support from the Schwab Trade Desk, our team of passionate traders who live and breathe trading. And sharpen your skills with immersive online education, crafted just for traders. Also, you can trade brilliantly.
Okay, now this sounds like a great idea to me. A simple blood test called Gallery may be changing the game in cancer detection. The company claims it can identify more than 50 types of cancers at an early stage.
Well, and we also know that they've sold, more than 130,000 of these tests in the last 2 years. However, there are concerns about accuracy here. But still, one patient has come forward and said this was really a game changer. It saved her life. Kelsey Kernstein joins us, and you have her story.
I do have her story, and I think this is just really interesting. But if we really put the numbers into perspective, 600,000 Americans will die this year from cancer. That is one person dying every single minute of the day. It's a real problem all across the world, of course. And what's interesting about this blood test is that it looks at the circulating tumor DNA that is released from cancer cells into the bloodstream. There's a lot of discrepancy. How accurate is it? Valerie Caro, she took the test, and she says it saved her life.
I'm 55 and I have a lot of life to live. And because of this test and because of moving forward and doing this and finding that cancer, having it detected early, I'm going to have the, the honor of living the rest of my life.
Valerie Caro, a real estate broker from Arizona, took the test about a year ago. A surprise to her, it found she had cancer. After rounds of procedures and tests, doctors found a 4.3 centimeter cancerous tumor on her gallbladder, a type of cancer, she says, that spreads quickly.
How lucky I am, because the cancer from the gallbladder goes very quickly from the gallbladder to the liver to the lungs.
The Gallery blood test, developed by biotech company Grail, claims it can detect 50 types of cancer, and over 130,000 tests have been sold in the last 2 years. And while the test has shown great success, experts say there is not enough evidence to prove its accuracy. According to research by a Grail-funded study, it found a false positive rate of less than 1%. Among those who received the positive results, a staggering 62% did not have cancer. An emergency room doctor said the blood test is a money-making business and it could be harmful.
These kind of tests, I think it's a business. These should really be discussed in conjunction with your doctor, and insurance is pretty clear currently that they are not going to cover these.
While Grail scientists and doctors say this test's benefits outweigh the risks.
The treatment burden are lower, the likelihood of being able to return to your family and be economically productive are much higher. It's far cheaper to treat stage 1 and 2 cancers.
Despite disagreements over the test's validity, Valerie Caro is thrilled she took it and recommends it to all.
Most brave things you can do is take the test for the first time, because you do not know what the outcome's going to be. I took the test last year thinking I'm going to use this as a baseline, and then every year I'm just going to take it, and then you'll always be ahead of this basically cancer curve.
The prescription-only test costs around $950. It is not covered by insurance or Medicare. It is not FDA approved. And although researchers and doctors are conflicted over the test, it has the potential to save lives. And that's what it did for Valerie Caro. And it really, she's living longer. We don't know if her cancer is going to come back, but she's able to live her life.
Yeah. And you hear a story like hers, and we're living in an age where people want answers and options, especially if it runs in your family. You know, I think a lot of people are like, well, why not try it? Why not spend the $950 and see where it takes me?
Particularly if there's a family history. And it's also important to point out, she also went on for additional testing, right? So it turned out to be true. Yeah.
It did, and it saved her life, truly.
Okay. Kelsey, thanks for bringing us that story. Everybody, we are now hearing from 2 survivors of the shooting at the Maine bowling alley. Take a listen.
I had 2 options. One was to try to attack him or to try to get as many people out as possible.
Yeah, those were the 2 options on the table, how they risked their lives to save dozens of people as that gunman in Maine blasted through that packed bowling alley.
I'm hearing different ways for me to screen for colon cancer.
It's time to use my voice. I've got a choice, more than one answer.
I sat down with my doc. We had a talk. Knew just what to say.
I asked for Cologuard and did it my way.
Cologuard is a one-of-a-kind way to screen for colon cancer that's effective and non-invasive. It's for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Ask your provider for Cologuard.
I did it my way.
This is the journey I've been taking. Of how I enter different rooms.
If you're a Medicare beneficiary, call now to see how a WellCare Medicare Advantage plan could get you some big benefits, including this all-in-one WellCare Spendables debit card to use for over-the-counter health items. Find out how easy it is to get all of your original Medicare coverage, plus extra benefits. A WellCare Medicare Advantage plan is designed to fit your needs so you can be your best every day. You could have medical coverage for prescription drugs, dental, vision and hearing, and the WellCare Spendables debit card to make getting the coverage you need more convenient. The WellCare Spendables debit card can be used for over-the-counter health items. And here's more good news. You can get a WellCare Medicare Advantage plan with a $0 or low monthly plan premium. How can WellCare offer all of those benefits for a $0 or low monthly plan premium? It's simple. Medicare Advantage and Medicare Part D prescription drug coverage are important parts of Medicare. WellCare has a contract with Medicare to offer and provide these important options to you. Call right now to get your free copy of the WellCare All-in-One Guide. Call 1-866-522-9415 now. There is absolutely no obligation for requesting this free information. WellCare offers benefits that go beyond the basics, and we make them easy to use so you can support your best health. Call today to get your free copy of the All-in-One Guide with absolutely no obligation. Your free guide will provide information to make a smart choice for your healthcare coverage. Just call 1-866-522-9415. Remember, there's no obligation for requesting this free information, so call 1-866-522-9415. Call today.
Jerry goes off-grid almost every weekend, but now, a Friday last-minute meeting? Otter has Jerry covered with an AI meeting assistant to take notes and capture action items, so Jerry can go camping and be ready for Monday. Sign up for free. Visit otter.ai or download the app.
This important message is for Marines and family members who spent 30 days on base at Camp Lejeune prior to 1988.
As a U.S. military veteran, I'm here to inform you that if you or someone you love has been diagnosed with cancer, Parkinson's, or other serious health issues after spending time at Camp Lejeune, you may qualify for financial compensation. Call now to determine your eligibility.
I called to see if I qualify. They helped me a lot.
Leaking chemical storage tanks at Camp Lejeune contaminated the drinking water with highly toxic chemicals. Marines and their family members have been diagnosed with multiple cancers and other serious health issues. But there is now a new law that gives victims the opportunity to receive financial compensation for their illnesses without going to court.
I finally got some answers. I'm glad I called.
You need to call now to see if you qualify. It costs you nothing if you don't win.
Call 800-817-9413. 800-817-9413.
When a gunman opened fire at the bowling alley in Lewiston, Maine on Wednesday night, two bowlers knew exactly what they had to do in that moment.
Yeah, that was Chad Hopkins and Kenny Moore. They risked their lives to get people out of the shooter's deadly path. Our Chris CUOMO spoke to them Thursday night in Maine.
Did you get to put eyes on him at all? And what do you remember of your sense of what was happening?
I remember it like it just happened, because every time I blink, I picture it again. Big bang, turn around, I see him no more than 30 feet away from me. There's bowling racks and pillars and people and such between us. I see him pointing down at the gun with the gun, looking at his potential victims, and it looked like he had a weapon failure going on. At that point, I had two options. One was to try to attack him, or to try to get as many people out as possible. Because to our league, we thought someone dropped the ball, you know, or a balloon went off, or something, a firecracker. So some people were more aware at first than others, but once I saw what was going on, I'm like, I can't believe I'm really seeing this. Everybody out, shooter, blah, blah, blah.
How'd you get him out? And how many did you get out?
Well, luckily, our league was near the back exit, like literally on lane 1, and if you turned around, there's the back exit right there.
But how many people were in the league play that?
In the league, we had about 40 people in the league.
And how many people did you get out?
39.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
Trish, Trish Aslin, a good friend of mine, employee for me, employee over at the bowling alley. I was bowling against her. We were having a good time. I love that. My last memory of her was she was beating me in bowling, and I was rooting her on for it. And she was doing what she always does. Yeah, she wasn't on the clock, but she was still helping everybody, right? So what is she doing? She's going out front. Now she's away from our league, and wrong time at the wrong place.
Gosh. And Trish is the one, you know, Evan Lambert was sharing some of these stories with us. She was the one who people said she would share leftover snacks.
And bring the body bath for the young woman.
And samples of Bath and Body Works. And you know, everyone, that's the kind of person that they were. And Kenny on the left, that's who we talked with over the phone yesterday. He lost one of his bowling coaches in it. So it's unfathomable, you know, the grief and the tragedy that this community is now feeling. You can watch CUOMO on weeknights starting at 8, 7 Central right here on NewsNation.
I've never been healthier.
Shingles doesn't care, but Shingrix protects. Proven over 90% effective, Shingrix is a vaccine used to prevent shingles in adults 50 years and older. Shingrix does not protect everyone and is not for those with severe allergic reactions to its ingredients or to a previous dose. An increased risk of Guillain-Barré syndrome was observed after getting Shingrix. Fainting can also happen. The most common side effects are pain, redness and swelling at the injection site, muscle pain, tiredness, headache, shivering, fever, and upset stomach. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Shingrix today.
Get help reaching your goals with JP Morgan Wealth Plan, the digital money coach in the Chase mobile app. Use it to set and track your goals, big and small, and see how changes you make today could help put them within reach. From your first big move to retiring poolside and the other goals along the way, Wealth Plan can help you get there. JP Morgan Wealth Management.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure with 27 vitamins and minerals, nutrients for immune health, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
Consumer Cellular, this is Sam. How may I help you? This is Sam. How may I help you? Oh, this is a butt dial. Well, somebody's butt. Just thought I'd let you know that with Consumer Cellular, you can get the same exact coverage as the leading carriers, but for up to half the price.
I can get behind that.
I know, right? I just talked to a butt. Congrats.
My dry eyes made me a burning, stinging 5 times a day.
Makeup smearing, drops user.
I want another option. That's not another drop.
Tyrvaya. It's not another drop. It's the first and only nasal spray for dry eye. Tyrvaya treats the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease fast by helping your body produce its own real tears. Common side effects include sneezing, cough, and throat and nose irritation.
Relying only on drops? Not me. My own real tears are my relief.
Ask your eye doctor about Tyrvaya.
Why pay over $100 a month for cable when it's half the cost for Fubo TV? Get all the channels you want with all the entertainment you love for the price that cable can't beat. Try free at FuboTV.com.
My active psoriatic arthritis can make me feel like I'm losing my rhythm. With Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm getting into my groove. Along with significantly clearer skin, Skyrizi helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Skyrizi attaches to and reduces a source of excess inflammation that can lead to skin and joint symptoms. With Skyrizi, 90% clearer skin and less joint pain are possible.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement. And that means everything. Now's the time to ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Welcome back, everybody. It's almost the top of the hour. We wanted to take a look back on the week. Of course, we're in the midst of a really serious and sad and busy news cycle, but we did manage to find some moments of levity to reflect and, and even make you smile a bit this week, because we need that. We need a little joy in life right now.
And here's a quick recap.
My name is John Shaft. Freeze.
Richard Roundtree was such an icon within the African-American community because of his positive portrayal.
He certainly was a good-looking man, too. And the ladies loved him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My mama.
One last thing, maybe just pack less.
Like, let me get on the plane first. I don't want to be the cream in the middle of this Oreo sandwich.
Are you going to get your husband Skims?
Absolutely not.
An underwear line for men right here from NewsNation Studios.
Yeah, NewsNation underwear.
That's our side hustle. Yeah.
Believe it or not, New York is not the rattiest city. It's Chicago.
Every morning, Lakeshore Drive. I can see him with our executive producer will attest.
I'll have some eagle eyes. Dre, what's happening behind you?
So we're on TV, and this guy is behind us with his loudspeaker. He has nothing to do with the case. He's just trying to be a distraction. But guess what? It didn't work because I got my story done. Back to you.
Right. And you got some applause.
My husband actually woke me up last night at 10:30, and he goes, "We're going to the World Series."
Were there a lot of people who faked it around the former president?
Oh, absolutely, and they still do.
Today is National TV Talk Show Host Day, and we thought, I don't know, it might be fun to name the talk show host who's inspired our careers. I always loved Kathy Lee Gifford.
I would say Oprah.
Brian Gumbel.
Kelly Ripa.
Katie Couric.
Technically, you should only shower 2 to 3 times per week, according to dermatologists.
No,
Per week.
Because it takes your oil
We do not
down.
advocate
See,
that.
I'm not going to age. I ain't going to age at all. I might have to be stanky, but I'm going to have that good skin.
Thank you for being along with us this week.
That was great.
And we did have some fun moments, but a lot of hard ones too. And we're not ignoring that for sure. A big hour ahead, everybody. Breaking details from overnight. Grab your coffee, buckle up. A lot more news for All America is straight ahead.